You're listening to Live from the Backroom on 106.1 Flip FM. We are here with Jordan Robert Kirk, a much hairier Jordan Robert Kirk than the man we saw back in October. Welcome back, sir.
How's it going? I'm glad. Yeah, I can't believe it's just been October. It feels like a year ago.
I know. So right at that time, you were just releasing your new single. Why have I gone blank?
Takes you home. I'll feed it to you.
Okay. Excuse me, I apologize.
No, you're good.
Song that we have been playing on Flip FM.
I think y'all played it first. So
yeah,
I claim that spot.
I tell your promoter every time he calls me, like, "Hey, man, we were first."
Yeah, I appreciate it.
So you had Takes You Home. You're now back working on something kind of new. Tell us about that for a second.
Yeah. So the album. Full length. It's got Takes You Home on it, and it's coming out next Friday.
Nice.
Everywhere but Spotify. We're not that I hate Spotify, but we're releasing it staggered out as singles on Spotify.
Gotcha.
So
we will certainly be listening. I actually you allowed me the honor of previewing it, and
yes,
I gotta
sir.
say, I'm a fan.
All right, thanks.
Fan enough to bring you back, obviously.
Yeah, I know. You let me back in the door. So to the dark side, as we say, we got cookies.
Yeah. So we got to start real quick. Obviously, this is a radio show, so it's a little bit difficult. But the people watching on YouTube can tell. Let's go back to the beard real quick. You came in. And you were clean shaven, and then I think your promotion for your album, you had a mustache going. Pretty sweet mustache too.
Oh, thanks. I try. It's not as good as old Tom Selleck or anything like that, but it's all right.
And now you've gone to the full beard. Tell us that process.
Oh man, wintertime, it's cold and let it grow. Also, my wife got me some beard oil every year that I grow it out, and then she'll get me a comb, and I think she's trying to tell me that it looks like raggedy and homeless. so I was like, if I'm going to grow it out, I'm going to comb it, and I'm going to use the beard oil. And it's helped a little bit. It's still a little bit wild, but it'll be like coming out everywhere.
Right.
And so I've kind of tried to tame it this time. But we're actually, here's a little sneak peek. We're actually filming a music video.
Nice.
And so I'm trying to look the part. So my hair's pretty long too, and I'm growing out the long beard. And so hopefully when we finish that this Saturday, cross my fingers, I will get a haircut and probably go back to the stash or some kind of close trim beard. But once that video's done, so.
You could just keep it growing, and as you grow older, start looking like an 18th century president.
I wouldn't mind that. One of my favorite guys on YouTube right now, he's got the close trim beard here, and then he got the long one right here, but he still got it right here. Some people just do the one. Mm-hmm. But anyway, I've been thinking about doing that. I don't know if my wife wouldn't like that, but I'm like, dang, that guy looks sharp.
So also, as we get started this morning, or afternoon, excuse me, I wanted to ask a couple of questions. First, you had to push back your appearance this morning because of a tractor. I have to know. I got this tweet from you, a direct message from you saying, "Did you get my email?" Which I didn't because my email's slow. And then something about a 15-mile-per-hour tractor.
Yeah, which is top speed, right? I was rolling. I was coming in hot. No, we farm mostly in Crosby County, as I told you last time with my dad. And I was trying to move a tractor before I ran over here, and just moving real slow. We're just doing a lot of dirt work right now and listing beds and floating turn rows and trying to get everything level and ready for rain and pre-water and everything in the world. We're just doing dirt work right now on tractors. And so, I was moving and I was like, dang it, I totally, didn't plan quite enough time for this. I was like, I better holler at Ryan. And I emailed you. I was like, I bet he's on Twitter. I'll get a hold of him. But yeah, just another day in the life, juggling farming and music and everything else,
I absolutely love that story because, since we are in the Floyd County, Crosby County, Hale County kind of metroplex, if you will, we have a lot of guys who are farmers, but they also have other outside things. And
yes.
One of the other people that is a country singer / farmer, Jason Nutt.
My good buddy.
Yeah, and obviously you guys had a run in today as well.
My real good buddy. Yeah. I left this morning and I had done an interview yesterday, and I was kind of had it in my mind that we were going to do a phone call or something, because that's what I did yesterday. I was like, no, it's in studio. Crap, I forgot my guitar. So I called Jason, and I'm like, dude, what are you doing? He said, oh, cutting calves, and he's just doing all kinds of stuff too. And I'm like, oh, crap. You got a guitar I could borrow? He's like, I'm about 10 miles away. Let me run back home. So he ran home and stuck me one out. And anyway, yeah, he saved my bacon today. Jason Nutt, shout out. And he's like, oh, hey, man, stuck a cap in there for you. And it's a sharp looking cap
nice
too,
hat,
with the little leather, whatever it's called. Patch, I guess, leather patch. And anyway, so he gave me a free cap and let me borrow his guitar. And it's a nice one. So I'm like, and actually he gave me two. He said, you can pick. I was like, oh, thanks. I just had to hurry because I was running late. But anyway, yeah, shout out to Jason Nutt and all that he does for the ag community and for the music community too as well.
Nice. And we'll have to actually run down to a couple doors down from here is the Nut House, his wife's store. So we'll find out what that thing is called there on your hat.
I would do. And well, actually, I have to.
So shout out to the Nut House as well.
Yes.
All right. So we could talk about other people all day, but we're here to promote an album. So
yes, sir.
Next Friday, what's the album called?
Western Holler.
And I understand there's kind of a theme storyline to it, if you will.
Yeah. I don't know. I've told it a million different ways, but I think the gist of it is I started realizing that we're in the technological age, we're in the digital age, everything is super fast paced, and I think the thing that kind of hit me was that, in my opinion, I think with everything that we've gained, we've probably lost more as time goes on, and that's tradition, culture, music even. And I guess that was me trying to grab a little bit of that and trying to hold on to it and preserve it in some way, in song, in story, and for our posterity, I guess. And I guess that's a general theme. Also the theme, Western Holler, is kind of the intersection of all of my influences, because growing up, a farmer, a rancher, ranch kid, farm kid, cowboy, in agriculture, but also kind of having a pretty heavy influence in bluegrass and back in the hollers of Kentucky. And I started out with that concept, and then holler is actually just like a corruption of hollow, like in the mountain, like a valley. And I was like, where I live and where I kind of grew up and where my family originated from back in the 1870s, my grandpa's grandpa was in Blanco Canyon, in between here and Crosbyton. And that's my album cover, as you probably noticed, and that's kind of the Western Holler. And I thought of that as a place and kind of an idea as well. And that's kind of what I tried to preserve in these stories and songs, and I call it kind of almost righteous indignation. It's almost like where we are in time and place is a little bit out of time in West Texas, in the Panhandle, and there's people like this all over the world, but I think there's a lot of us here, and it's I guess it's that culture and it's that tradition, and that's, to me, that's the gist of the Western Holler. So
that sounds amazing. Can we hear some?
Yeah, sure. Well, I guess I'll play the title track since I went off on it for a minute. It's kind of a cowboy song. On the record, it's just me and a dobro. So
very nice. This is Jordan Robert Kirk on Live from the Backroom on 106.1 Flip FM.
Some folks say this way of life is dead, but while they had the funeral, we branded 30 head. The water table's dry and no clouds in the sky, but somehow we still get by. Like Don Quixote in a knight in shining armor, rodeo and a cowboy on the range. Kid playing in his and daddy's clothes. This western holler will never be the same. Some say I'm crazy, I think they're lazy, as they never live out here with me. I just smile and shake my head, 'cause they don't see what I see. You can see for miles, dirt devils in the sky. Life's a gamble, don't call her bluff. It repels their kind, they'll never see the diamond. This life out here will always be rough. Like Don Quixote in a knight in shining armor, rodeo and a cowboy on the range. A kid playing in his and daddy's clothes. This western holler will never be the same. We're the backwards cousin of the Lone Star State. We'll grow that tail even taller. We'll cut our nose to spite our own face, just so we could say, long live the western holler. Like Don Quixote in a knight in shining armor, rodeo and a cowboy on the range. Kid playing in his daddy's clothes. This western holler will never be the same. This western holler will always be the same. Yeah.
Oh man, I'm grinning large. I love that.
I love that western holler.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You're listening to Live from the Backroom on 106.1 Flip FM. Jordan Robert Kirk. Western Holler is the name of his new album that's coming out on Friday, February 12th. And he just performed it here for us. Now, let's talk a little bit about that. You mentioned it and you discussed it a little bit, but, you know, obviously we're biased because we live in West Texas, but my wife, who I was telling you earlier, teaches history, and there's an idea of Texas exceptionalism, that we stand out from like people from like Delaware or anywhere else. But I think there's even more so from West Texas.
Man, are you just reading my mind or my diary or what?
I guess so, but I mean, and like I said, we're biased because we're here. But
right, absolutely.
I mean, that obviously plays a role in your songwriting, it seems.
You can help me write my dissertation.
All right, I will.
No, it's true, and it's kind of this weird, and that's kind of what I'm saying in the song, is it's kind of this weird thing where, Lubbock and West Texas and the Panhandle are kind of the butt of a lot of jokes, and kind of like, I'd never want to live out there. But, it's cool. It's great. They have, it's a cool place, and it's like, yeah, we know it is. It really is West Texas exceptionalism, and that's kind of what I'm getting at. And I think, I have some friends that live, actually family that live out in Decatur, and as the Metroplex grows out there, the country and the rural life is getting smaller. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And it has been so fast, even like my wife's from Denton, and 25 years ago, it was a small town.
Yes.
And that's what I'm getting at is I don't know if Lubbock will ever really get there. And it's growing now, but there's a limit to that growth. One, natural resources, water, and also it's just really flat and a lot of dirt, and it's not pretty in the classic way. And so people that it's like a best kept secret, and I don't think we'll ever, it's going to repel the kind of people that flock to places, that flock to the hill country or flock to California just because of its natural beauty, because we don't have that natural beauty here. It's a rugged beauty, it's a rugged individualism. And, it's probably always going to be a best kept secret.
I have to. This is a good segue. If you'll notice, there's a photo next to you is from a photographer / country artist named Charlie Stout. Who I understand you've worked with now on your cover photo for your album.
Yeah, he came out to Mount Blanco and did a little shoot with me. Election day, actually.
Oh.
That morning. So, yeah, worked out.
And so there's, that hidden beauty, that Western Holler, that idea of, the differences, I guess, of West Texas is kind of, again, what you're talking about and what you're showing even with your album art. So
yes, absolutely.
Walk us through that process of how you're not just going to be another cowboy standing in front of a tractor or a barn or, in some studio holding your guitar,
Yeah.
you went out and you made a photo shoot.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of my muse, I guess, that canyon and that place. And like I said, I talk about it a little bit on Facebook, and I have an email list I send out, and I went into more depth. But my grandpa, Henry Clay Smith, he used to be my grandpa's grandpa, actually. He settled that area in 1876 or 77. And he was there. He was the first person in the South Plains, first settler, by about a year. There were some Quakers that came out not long after. And that's kind of that. It's always been that muse, and my EP, Listen for the Sound. It's actually a painting that Briston Phillips did of that canyon, and it's kind of where I keep coming back to, because in that rough, broken up terrain, that literally means Mount White. It's white rock. Mount Blanco is what it is, or Blanco in Spanish. It's where I've always come back to, and it's where, I don't know if I'll be buried there or whatever, but it's kind of been my muse. And I think I recognize the sentiment you're getting at. That's pretty popular in Texas country and country music in general. And I think I wanted to set myself apart a little bit, in the sense that, not that I'm reinventing the wheel, or that I'm doing some genre redefining of whatever, but I wanted to define the essence of what is me. What am I about, and how can I distill that down into something that is also not very many other people, and that at the same time it's everybody, that we all identify with, and yet, it maybe hasn't been an itch that's been scratched, or an area that's been pioneered or researched or sought out, I guess. And so yeah, me and Charlie went out with my grandpa's saddle, and didn't know horse or nothing. We just went out there, and I just walked around like I was. I have a line, we'll cut our nose to spite our own face. That's just that's an old idiom, and it's just like we'll hold these traditions and we'll carry them through the ages, and even if it's just like hauling a saddle through a canyon without a horse, and that was kind of what I was getting at, as if maybe my horse had died, or I'd had to shoot him, or like in an old Western or something, and this is all I got. I got my saddle, and so I'm gonna bring it with me, and even if it's ends up being the death of me, because I think, like I said, I think we've lost more than we've gained with technology, and while it's benefited us so much, we've forgotten, what our grandparents and their grandparents and what, probably we're undoing tradition and culture of the past 2,000 years, even though it's changed. The way we pass it down now, I think is forgettable. And it's when you write something down, the first thing you do is forget what you wrote down. But if you remember it, it's the way we remember. It's our memory, and I'm probably just rambling now, but I was trying to boil down to that essence, and I guess, and absolutely, Charlie, as you know, is very talented, and he definitely helped me capture that.
So I feel like then, because you are a farmer, because you work the land, not obviously in the canyon, but kind of nearby, obviously, if you're in Crosby County, you that has to help again, kind of in your songwriting, your ethos, I guess,
Yeah,
of how you approach your music.
absolutely. Um, yeah, I'm a dreamer. I actually just posted on Facebook earlier. Like I was thinking about last night. I read Louis L'Amour a lot growing up.
Mm-hmm.
I read a bunch in middle school, and then I kind of remembered in high school. Read a few more, and then in college. And every few years, I'll go back and buy like 5 or 6 Louis L'Amour books, and they're like 100, 200 pages. So just knock them out. And there's a theme in Louis L'Amour. There's a recurring character in all of his stories, and it's typically some kind of guy who is educated, not necessarily formally like a school, but possibly. But it could be just a guy who he had a stack of books and he was taught how to read, and he suffered his way through reading those books to educate himself. And I learned from an early age, like I was saying, it wasn't cool to read. It was like you were a nerd, and yet I was a reader and I was a dreamer. And so I look out at these outcroppings and these arroyos and these washes and these draws and these canyons and the cap rock and even the flat dirt and the way that it's been tilled and everything. And I see stories, and I think it's something. Louis L'Amour was a Western author, but he wrote a lot of non-Western stuff. And but that recurring theme of a cowboy who could recite Homer or the Bible, and also break a horse or shoot a man if he had to, if he had that opportunity. And I've always kind of and C.S. Lewis talks about a gentleman and a knight, and kind of how a knight would be fierce to the nth, to the utmost, and gentle to the utmost. Who would give his lady a flower, and who would lance his opponent. And that's what I've always had in my mind, and that's the man that I've always wanted to strive to be, and to encourage other men to be that way, and help each other as brothers. And I look out and I see these things, and I'm a if it's ADD or if it's a super active imagination. I look out, exactly what you're saying, the ethos, the inspiration, the muse. I see those things, and I will get lost, and especially when I'm driving a tractor at 15 miles an hour.
Right.
I look out and I'm just like, man, and my mind just goes. And that's when I'm intentional about it, that's when I write. I'll write a lot of songs driving real slow down the highway, just on my phone, or even kind of just singing them back and forth in my head if it's just a little chorus or something, and that's kind of what I come back to, and that's the foundation that I realize as I get older that I'm very, very fortunate that I built it so early on,
Mm-hmm.
and that it was built on me and the people that impressed upon me and mentored and discipled me, that those things are here, and they are recalled immediately by, depending on what I see and where I'm at, and yeah, of course, that canyon, that Western Holler, I guess, is a huge one.
Well, let's hear some other work from that.
Yeah.
See, the songs that you wrote while you were, I guess technically you were texting and tractoring. So but yeah, I mean, what would you like to play for us next?
I don't know. Let's see. I'll do one. It's called Dirty Hands.
You're listening to Jordan Robert Kirk on Live from the Back Room on 106.1 Flip FM.
My uncle's been cooking since 4 eyes waned. He's even still got some of his teeth. I prayed to God I'd get out before the financial share fell on me. thumbed a ride to West Texas at age 17. Sometimes to grow, you just have to leave. I still have the shakes, but I think I'll piss clean. That black gold's gonna save my family. I can't understand how dirty hands help keep your nose clean. The vultures still circle our house, but now there's no need. I miss my uncle some days, but he's there in the yard when my sisters play. I'd break my back to keep that way alive in the ground with him. The money went dry with my uncle's supply. We just sat there on the couch high. Too many debts from all the wrong guys. They put lead between his eyes. I can't understand how dirty hands help keep your nose clean. The vultures still circle our house, but now there's no need. I miss my uncle some days. He's there in the yard where my sisters play. I'd break my back to keep that way alive in the ground with him. This tall city show ain't for the weak. Makes you want to take your money and leave. I couldn't get out before it got me. This old field can break your mind and body. I thank God that dirty hands help keep a man clean. But the devil's there at the door, and now his name's Codeine. I miss my uncle some days. He's there in the yard when my sisters play. I'd break my back to keep that way alive in the ground with him.
That was Dirty Hands by Jordan Robert Kirk on 106.1 Flip FM. Man.
A little somber song for this morning.
That's haunting. I like that.
Thanks, man. Yeah, that was a fun one. Yeah, that all makes me sad because it's based on kind of some true stories about some friends. And yeah, man, sometimes when you get you think you're out of trouble, you get a good job and you get back on your feet and, addiction can break you, and sometimes it's just stuff that's supposed to make you well, and sometimes it's pain medicine even that sends people over the edge, and I think that's why we gotta give people grace and try and help them wherever we can, because it's an epidemic, I guess. Mm-hmm. We talked about it more before the pandemic, I guess. But
yeah, yes, we did. Yeah, that got a little clouded by other stuff going on in the world.
Like everything else, I know.
Yeah. Speaking of the pandemic, though, when we talked last time, you hadn't really been able to get out and perform as much, but things are turning around, and understand you're going to be out and about pretty soon. You said.
Yes, sir. I got definitely several shows planned throughout the next few months. Still a little scattered, but next week I made sure to have a 3-day run. Excuse me. For the release week, we're doing 3 release parties. One at Magnolia Motor Lounge in Fort Worth, and Mama Tried in Irving. And then back Saturday night, bring your Valentine date on the 13th of February. We're going to be doing a Saturday show with Travis Roberts. He's opening out of Amarillo. And yeah, so we're going to. It'll be a barn burner, so everybody better come.
Where's that going to be?
That's at the Blue Light in Lubbock.
Nice.
Yes, sir. So that's more of a local show than my other two back in the DFW.
Yeah, a little far to drive for DFW, but you can certainly make it to Lubbock.
I can make it to Lubbock, yeah.
Well, you have to make it no matter what.
I'll be there. Y'all come, okay? But
so, Jordan, normally I ask, some kind of an oddball question, but I feel like, we've covered a lot, but is there anything?
Run the gamut.
Yeah. Is there anything that you really want to talk about that we haven't mentioned yet?
Shoot.
Who you got for the Super Bowl? That's an easy one.
Oh man, that's tough because I'm a big Red Raider fan, and so I love Patrick Mahomes, even though I don't love the Chiefs. But also, I'm kind of rooting for Tom Brady. I mean, in a way too, because it's just like he's 43.
Yeah.
He's moved from the Patriots, and he's turning that team around at the Buccaneers, and I'm just like, God, I want Patrick Mahomes to win, but because I just, big Red Raider, Texas Tech, but I wouldn't be upset at all if the Buccaneers won with Tom Brady, because he's making history every year that he keeps playing.
That is true. Yeah.
So it's cool. Pat Mahomes is making history.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So anyway, who do you got?
I excuse me. I think that I've got to root for the guy who's a year older than I am. So
Dang. Yeah.
So,
that's true.
Because there's no way I would be able to get out there. I mean, I couldn't have.
I couldn't now. I'm 30, and there's no way.
You still have 13 years to go.
Yeah, I know. I got another career ahead of me if I were playing football and Tom Brady.
Yeah. All right. Well, Jordan Robert Kirk, we certainly appreciate you coming by. Your album is called Western Holler. Comes out on February 12th, which is this Friday. Next Friday. Wait. Next Friday, excuse me, man.
10 days from today.
Yeah, today is Groundhog Day.
Yeah. Bill Murray, yep.
Yeah. He apparently saw his shadow, I guess. We have 6 more
he
weeks.
did?
Yeah, 6 more weeks of winter, but,
thanks.
Not that really matters here in West Texas,
True. No, that's true. Who knows what's going to happen?
Well, Jordan, I would love for you, if you don't mind, playing one more song for us. Kind of go out on a singing note.
Absolutely. Let's see what we got here. How about here? This is kind of a spin on How I Met My Wife. It's kind of a Two Truths and a Lie version of it. It's called Hung the Moon. Well, I was still wet behind the ears, naive and not so stable, when I saw a good-looking woman. She was dollar bill dancing on a table. I gave her my jacket and I took her hand. We headed out into the night. I left town behind so we could see the stars. She said it was her first time. She'd never been with any other man. She thinks that I hung the moon. I live by the rule of low expectation. Gonna marry that girl come June. It was our second date. Took her down to the tank with peanuts in a pop bottle. Toting fishing poles and holding hands. Had the country boy chomp full throttle. I saw her bareback headed down to the water. Where had I seen this before? Like blowing ashes off of coals, can't get much hotter. I don't care, I just want some more. She's never been with any other man. She thinks that I hung the moon. I live by the rule, low expectation. Gonna marry that girl come June. on your best dress, so you can take off your best dress. Pretty mama, just say it with your chest. I wanna feel your breath, wanna feel your caress. Here's my body, can you put it to the test? Put on your best dress, so you can take off your best dress. Pretty mama, just say it with your chest. I wanna feel your breath, wanna feel your caress. Here's my body, can you put it to the test? She's never been with any other man. She thinks that I hung the moon. I live by the rule, low expectation, gonna marry that girl come June. She's never been with any other man. She thinks I'm hung like the moon. I live by the rule, low expectation, gonna marry that girl come June. Yeah, I married that girl last June.